Welcome you all. Today I'm going to teach you how to do network automation with Python. For that, I'm going to use Cisco CML free version, free trial. So let me start my Cisco CML VM in the VMware workstation. So I'm starting my VM. Okay, it has given an IP address, IPv4 address. Let me log into this IPv4 address. So let's go. Okay, my username is admin, password. Okay, this is the Cisco CML workspace. So I'm going to add a new lab. So add here, I'm going to place the nodes. So in order to place the nodes, click on this. So I'm going to paste an external connector, place an external connector, then an Ubuntu machine and layer 2 switch. Okay, so I'll make the connections, add links, create link, add link, create link. Okay, so let's start the step. Right click on the workspace, start lab. Okay, it will take some time to load all of your devices, especially for this Ubuntu machine. Okay, you can see lively what's going on in the Ubuntu machine once it boots up. So I'm going for the console, open console. Okay, Ubuntu machine is started. So let me work on this start layer 2 machine. It's failing. Again, I'm starting this layer 2 switch. Okay, layer 2 switch also now started. So let's log into the console of the Ubuntu machine. So in the Ubuntu machine, it's asking for the login. That means it's prompting for the username. So in order to know what is the username for this Ubuntu machine, what can we do is double click on the Ubuntu machine. Okay, when we double click on the Ubuntu machine, in the config tab, okay, if you see here, system info, default user, name Cisco, and the password is Cisco. So everything is given. So login username is Cisco and the password also Cisco, right? So now I have successfully logged into the Ubuntu machine. So let me see what is the IP address given for this device. So I'll check with ifconfig. Okay, I'll type with ifconfig. Command ifconfig not found but can be installed with sudo apt install nettools. So I am copying that command, copy and paste. Okay, now let me check with ifconfig. Okay, so we have the IP address 192.168.255.91. That is the IP address of this Ubuntu machine. So I'm copying it and I'm going to paste that IP address in the workspace. Okay, so in the text, Control V, right? This is the IP address of this Ubuntu machine. Okay, so let me check what is the IP address of this external connector. This is the default gateway for this network. So if I'm going to ping, right? Let's say I'm going to ping google.com, www.google.com. All of my pings to the external networks are routed through this external connector. This is acting as my default gateway. So for the holiness of this practical, I'm going to see what is the IP address of that external gateway. For that one, I am typing IP route. Okay, when I type IP route, I can see 192.168.255.1. That is the IP address of the default gateway. That means that external connector. So copy, okay, paste. Yeah. Okay, so let me see whether I can able to ping to that default gateway. Paste. Yeah, I can successfully ping to that default gateway. Okay, these pings are continuous pings. In order to break from these pings, you need to press Control C. Okay, so in order to clear this console, you can use the command clear, or otherwise you can use Control plus L. Okay, otherwise you can use Control plus L. Okay, now we have the devices from this Ubuntu machine. This is going to act as, okay, this is going to act as my network automation controller. Okay, this is going to act as my network automation controller. Let's say I have only layer 2, one switch only, right? So let me add some layer 2 devices. layer 2 switch 1, third switch, and the fourth one. Okay, so let me make the connections between them, add links. Okay, create link, add link, create, add a link, create, add a link, create. Okay, so when I type start the lab, it's going to try to start all the other devices which are not started yet. This one is failed. We will try again later. This is also failed. Okay, let me try one by one. Finally, it started. So from the network controller, what we are going to do is we are going to configure these devices by using the Python program. That is our task. Okay. So for that reason, before we configure these devices by using the Python, okay, before doing the network automation, first of all, I need to make sure that I can reach all these devices, these layer 2 devices. In this small network, I have only the layer 2 devices, layer 2, 4 switches I have. Okay, so first of all, I need to make sure that I can reach all of these devices. That means reach means I can able to ping, right? So in order to ping for these layer 2 devices, we need to set the management IP addresses. That is our first task. So I am logging into that console of the switch 1. Okay, so we know that this is the IP address of this Ubuntu machine. These are layer 2 devices. So all the devices are going to be in the same LAN. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign the IP address for this first device, the management IP address for the first switch. Okay, let me type switch 1. The IP address I'm going to give is 192.168.255.100. Okay, that is the IP address I'm going to give for the first switch. Okay, Control C. Okay, that is the IP address of this switch. Okay, for this switch, let's call this a switch 2. Switch 2, the IP address is 101. Okay, let's call this is a switch 3. Okay, switch 3, Control V. Switch 3. This is 102. Okay, this one, last one is switch 4. Switch 4. This is 103. Okay, we have named all the devices in our workspace for our easiness. So let me configure these management IP addresses into these layer 2 switches. Okay, so first of all, let's log into this console. So console, okay, console, this is the console of switch 1. Okay, so enable. Okay, I need to assign the switch name as switch 1. So host name, sorry, I need to go to the config terminal, config, host name, okay, switch 1. Okay, in order to assign the management IP address, I'm going to assign that in the interface VLAN 1, interface VLAN 1. Okay, IP address 192.168.255.100. That's what we have designed. 100 slash 24 mask 255.255.255.0 no shut. Okay, let me verify whether this interface created in that IP address is given. So do show IP interface brief. Okay, so successfully we have created the VLAN interface and the IP address is assigned and it's manual and up. Okay, status in the protocols are up. So this is one. Okay, so if I have correctly everything goes fine, what I need to do is I need to able to ping the switch by itself. So ping 192.168.255.100. Yeah, the switch itself I can ping. Okay, so let me check whether I can ping from this network automation controller to this switch one. Okay, for that ping 192.168.255.100. Yeah, I'm able to ping successfully. So in order to break from this continuous ping, press Control C. Okay, in order to clear the terminal, clear or Control L. Okay, now I'm able to successfully ping. Okay, that's fine. Now let me check whether I can able to telnet to this device. Let me check from this network automation controller whether I can able to telnet to this device. So I'm checking telnet. Okay, telnet 192.168.255.100. I'm unable to connect to remote host, connection refused, because I haven't configured any telnet in this switch one. Okay, in order to access that switch via telnet, I need to configure that in that switch. So for that reason, okay, for that reason, what I need to do is, first of all, I need to create the enable password. Otherwise, if you are not creating the enable password, we can access the switch, but we can't go inside of the switch. Okay, so for that reason, I'll assign enable password, give a password random. I'm giving Cisco. Okay, Cisco. Then I'm creating the username. Okay, username. Uh, let's give my name, Saahith. Okay, then password. Here also I can give any password. For the randomness, I'm giving Cisco. Okay. Okay. So then I need to tell when we are using the telnet or SSH, right? We are using the VTY lines. So I need to assign these password for my VTY lines. So I'm logging into line VTY 0. Let me check what are the maximum number of VTY lines here. 4. 4. Then login local. By this command, I'm saying that when someone is trying to login through VTY lens, check for their username and the password whether they are matching with the configured username and the password. So login local, it's going to check for my credentials. Then I'm going to tell what are the protocols are allowed to use these VTY lans. For that reason, I am typing transport input. Okay, let's see what are the options here. I can allow all the protocols, none, and SSH I can allow, telnet, and another thing, UDP-TN. Now I'm going to assign all, right? All. Okay. So if I am done, if I have successfully configured the telnet from this network automation controller, that means from my Ubuntu machine, I can able to successfully telnet to that device. Okay, it's asking for the username. So I'm giving Saahith and the password I was given Cisco. Boom. I can able to log into that device, switch one. And I'm typing enable. It's asking for the enable password, Cisco. Yeah, I'm able to log into that switch one via telnet. Okay, like that, we need to be able to reach the connectivity for all these devices. So for that one, I need to assign the management IP address, and I'm going to set the telnet for all of these devices. So I have a template for that. So I have a template. So let me edit for the switch 2. Host name is switch 2. IP address VLAN, IP address 168, not 255. Yeah, 255. This should be 101, right? 101. And line VT/04 transport input load and right, and right. Okay, copy. So I'm logging into the console of the switch 2. Console, open. Okay, so paste. Okay, I can see that. Right here, I can see the output show IP interface brief. So I have assigned the IP address successfully. So let me check from the Ubuntu machine whether I can able to ping to that machine, that layer 2 switch, ping 192.168.255.101. Yeah, the ping is successful. So let me check what about the telnet. Telnet 192.168.255.101. Okay, username is Saahith. Okay, password Cisco. Yeah, there is an error. So let me again one time configure that enable password and the username, everything manually. So configure enable password. Okay, enable password Cisco, right? Username Sahib, right? Password Cisco, right? Password Cisco. So now check Sahib. Now it's working. So when I configure this one, it's not taking either of these one of these commands. So what can I do is I can by manually I can add them at the last. Okay. So let's configure for the switch 3 this time. The IP address is 102, right? 102. Copy. And for the login to the switch 3's console, right? 3's console, it's here. The- Open console. Okay, paste. Okay, so if I am successful, I should be able to ping that device, right? Ping 192.168.255.102. That is the switch 2's IP address. We can see that here. So ping is successful. Control C. Okay, but telnet won't be successful because I haven't given that enable password in the usernames. So I'm going to configure them manually. Configure T. Okay, enable password Cisco, right? Username Sahith, password Cisco, right? So let me check here. Control L. Okay. Uh, telnet, telnet, sorry, typo. Telnet 192.168.255.102. Yeah, Rahid, password is Cisco. Successful. Enable Cisco. So I can able to ping Telnet these devices. Okay, switch 3 is done. Now I need to configure the switch 4. So console of switch 4, right? Okay, from my code template, I'm changing the name to switch 4, IP address to 103. Okay, 103. I'm copying everything. Okay, coming here, paste into the CLI of the switch 4. Paste. Okay. So I'm able to ping. I will be able to ping, but for the telnet, what I need to do, I need to configure the enable password and the username in the password. So enable password Cisco. Okay. Username Saahith, password Cisco. Done. Okay. From the Ubuntu machine. Okay. From the Ubuntu machine, let me try to ping to that switch for 192.168.255.103. Yeah, successfully we are able to ping to that switch for Control C. Right? Now try telnet to 103. Username Saahith, password is Cisco. Yeah, now we're able to telnet to that device too. Okay, so we haven't saved the commands there. So I'm writing everywhere, right in the memory. Switch 1, right. Switch 2, right. Sorry, right. It's in the config, right. And right. Right. In switch 3 and right. Okay, switch 4, I have already saved that here. So now in this lab, what we have done is we have now achieved the reachability for all the devices through ping as well as through telnet. So in the next video, what we are going to do is we are going to configure these devices by using a Python library called telnet lib. Okay, in the next video onwards, we are going to configure all of these switches using a Python library called telnet lib. Until then, bye-bye. If you like the video, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and share with your friends. Thank you for watching. Bye.